In September 2017, 65 Christians from around the country and the city of Seattle traveled to Seattle and converged on it in order to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. The idea behind the mission is that while Christian churches send missionaries overseas to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ, much of the need for the gospel is right here in our own backyards, in our own cities. Everywhere, Americans have turned their back on God and have created idols for themselves. Have you got one of these today?
No, I haven't.
Have you seen some of the butterflies in the area?
No.
Like right up there, there's some butterflies on a one of those men stand there in the stone carving or whatever. Okay. So we're talking. This is what it's about. So we got these butterflies around. A lot of people are talking about it on Reddit, but that's what we're about.
Okay,
so
cool, man.
Check it out.
Thanks for sharing.
Cool. See ya. And we handed out pamphlets that talked about the gospel of Jesus Christ. We used the rainbow as a symbol on our pamphlets and our stickers. The stickers cited Proverbs 16, which talks about pride going before destruction. Pride is the ultimate root in man that is a sin against God, where we turn to other things instead of submitting to God through His Son, Jesus Christ. The rainbow flag is used widely in Seattle as a symbol of something other than submission to God, so it was particularly notable to a lot of Seattle when we were using it to reflect more of how God intended it to be used, which is seen in Genesis 9. In our short time in Seattle, because of a viral campaign that made its way around Reddit, it was a bunch of origami butterflies that we placed in the city several days before we all arrived. We also went out onto a bridge where tens of thousands of cars were exposed to our presence, our rainbow-colored signs, messages from Scripture. We all wore the same T-shirts that had a lot of scriptural references on them, and we went to the University of Washington and engaged a lot of students at the university on Friday, September 29th. Many one-on-one gospel conversations were had in the Fremont district and Capitol Hill district and at the university just over the couple of days that we were there.
I'm a Christian.
Sure.
I would tell you, if you're truly submitted to Christ and you truly follow the principles that are espoused, not just in His teachings, but what He represents.
Sure.
You love God with all your heart, you love your neighbor as yourself, and you're empowered to do that out of your love for God,
Sure.
your love for Christ. And what if everybody was submitted to God's eternal plan in Christ, and by that they were then empowered to truly live selflessly? Well, why would He die on the cross? What did He say He was doing there? I mean, that's a submission to God, right? It's kind of hard to separate that.
So now you're just talking about a mythology versus like something that is a philosophy, right? I've enjoyed talking to you. You seem like a rarity, to be totally honest with you. So
Gives an answer. That's in the Old Testament. And I don't know that human beings can fully understand the answer, really. But what it says is that blood is that which makes an atonement for sin. It pays for it because the life is in the blood. Like there's something, God has decided, it's a weird thing. If I pull out money and I've got a $100 bill, that's the currency of the United States. And in the currency of God's economy, it is blood.
Wow.
I know.
That's a good resolution to this thing I've been. Oh, wait. Okay. So what about?
Should you get one of these, ma'am? Should you get one of these, sir? And never in your life do you ever wonder, what if there's a God, if you're created for a purpose, anything like that?
I think that we create purpose and attach meaning to things in life.
Okay. Have you ever asked yourself the question, is there a God, and were you created for a purpose other than the fact that you're currently thinking that we create purpose? And do you ever think about what happens to people when they die? Because obviously we all die.
There's a great book about that, actually. It looks at, I think it's called Stiff. And it looks at what happens to a body after the person expires and all the different processes it goes through.
Okay. Spiritually, do you think there's a spirit and a human person separate from their physical body?
Again, I find that question to be irrelevant for me.
Okay. You never asked yourself that question?
It doesn't affect my life at all.
We had many great conversations in the neighborhoods where we went, talking about the gospel, talking about absolute truth, talking about the existence of God and His requirements on man. And because of the shirts that we wore and because of the pamphlets we were handing out, word got around, and apparently people went and looked at our website And some people just outright told us they were offended by a Christian worldview. They considered us a hate group because of the fact that God has standards in the Bible for human conduct, and they wanted to do anything they wanted to do, and they felt like it was hateful to tell some people that according to Scripture, certain things are unlawful according to God. Certain things are not good for human beings according to God. And our use of the rainbow symbol, which comes straight out of Genesis, was also highly rejected by them because they had co-opted that symbol to mean something other than what it was scripturally, and so they rejected our perspective of what the rainbow meant. But we were going out to restaurants, we were going to coffee shops, and we were buying food and buying coffee and talking to people out on the street. And I had this very unfortunate experience at Kaladi Brothers Coffee as follows, where it seems that they had heard about us, they had gone and looked at our website, and they were rejecting the gospel as applied to a total worldview. It included the different forms of idolatry we have in our society, how some people have made an idol out of the NFL, and some people have made an idol, believe it or not, out of their own churches, and other people have made an idol out of sex, and then ultimately that has led to a form of child sacrifice that is abortion. So we were to talk about Christ and then also talk about where human value is derived from and where we get human rights, and that is the nature of the discussion based out of a Christian worldview that seems to have been rejected by the baristas at Kaladi Brothers.
Coffee, okay. All right, cool.
Yeah, I know. I also make an amazing.
Hey, how's it going? Do you have like a good bold roast, 12 ounce?
I do have coffee, however, I do not feel comfortable serving you.
And why would that be?
That would be because you're protesting in front of my shop, demonstrating.
It would be like what?
Because you're demonstrating in front of my shop and you're purporting ideas that I do not agree with.
Oh, I'm not demonstrating. Is it the ideas or the demonstration? Because I assume you're used to demonstrations, right?
Oh, absolutely am. It's kind of a mixture of both, actually, because you can't separate one from the other.
Now, I thought that you would probably be open to exchange of ideas on a sidewalk in a city like this, wouldn't you?
Oh, most of the time I am.
Okay. Why are you closed to this idea? Or even to discussing it?
Because I think that you're kind of on the wrong side of history, and I think that what you're doing is more like the agenda that you're purporting is morally wrong, and I understand.
Let me ask you this. Do you think you could incorporate the idea of human rights violations? Do you think you could incorporate your idea of human rights violations with my idea? In other words, why can't they coexist as ideas of equal value? So, because I care about a lot of the same things you do, I
between
think.
An idea and then materialism. Idealism is a guiding principle.
Yeah.
Materialism tells us about the state of affairs in the world.
What was that last question? Materialism. Okay.
Tells us about the way that the state of the world, the condition of the world, and sometimes we can use our ideals to guide how it is that we want the material world to exist.
Okay.
However, that doesn't mean that the material world always reflects our ideas.
Okay.
Which means that there are some ideas that are never going to be a part of
But
the
don't you
material
think
world.
that we have a
I'm done with this conversation, sir.
Do you think?
I'm done with this conversation.
Okay, we're having a good conversation.
This is a good conversation, but it's also not the time and place. And
I just want you to understand where I'm coming from.
Well, we've got to work right now. So.
Okay, I understand, but I would just encourage you to consider that I think we can incorporate more than one person's ideas of human value. In other words, so it sounds to me like you're trying to exclude mine, and I probably don't disagree with a lot of yours. What's that?
Your project isn't necessarily.
It is about human rights.
It's about religion. I've seen your website.
Let me ask you
It is
this.
utterly about Christianity.
It is about, but
Appreciate it, but we have to work right now, and this is not being productive to our business.
So I'm willing, I'm willing to consider what you guys are valuable.
So I'll definitely consider it, but I would.
So, and I would just tell you, it would be my summation that you seem a little closed-minded, that you wouldn't even be willing to discuss mine or do business with me as a patron.
Absolutely. But
Okay.
please,
Yeah, you bet. All right.
I've done a lot of ministry in various cities and towns, including my own, and I have actually never had a business owner reject me as a patron in their business for the fact that I was sharing the gospel in the vicinity of their business or in their town or in their city. So I guess we found Seattle, known for its tolerance, to be less than tolerant.